Welcome to the Emporium Outdoors. My name is Michael, and let me show you how to change this into this. Stick around if you'd like to learn more. My journey started a few months ago when I bought this rooftop tent for my Jeep. I then realised I couldn't carry a canoe or a kayak on the top of my Jeep anymore, so I had to find an alternative solution. I'd seen collapsible kayaks and canoes on YouTube before and did some research on pricing and availability, etc., and was shocked by how much these things actually cost. I found a company on Amazon called TERRAVENT sells a folding kayak at the price of a regular medium quality kayak. So the folding kayak comes in this handy bag which has backpack straps, so if you need to transport it down to the water, then it's an easy way to carry it. The bag contains all the parts to the kayak, including the paddle and the PFD. TERRAVENT also supplies a large bag of spares just in case you need them in the future. The kayak consists of really two parts, the seat and the shell itself. This is the second time I've ever set up the kayak, and I'm sure I'll get quicker as time goes on. I also feel that the folds in the kayak are getting easier each time that I've assembled it, so over time this should get simpler to put together. The trickiest part for me is assembling the cockpit coaming. Each side has these aluminium plates that slide into retaining screws. It's a bit of a fiddle, but once you get the technique, it's actually pretty straightforward. By rotating the coaming downwards, you can then latch the top part to hold everything together. The same mechanism is repeated on the front of the coaming and acts in exactly the same way. Just rotate the top of the coaming to finally latch it all together. Once the cockpit's assembled, you can slide on the three ribs that hold each side of the kayak body together. There are a series of buckles across the top of the kayak and a couple along the sides that help reinforce the structure. The rear is a repeat of the front. The only difference is the seat is connected via a couple of buckles at the rear of the cockpit. And lastly, the bow and stern are covered by a neoprene cover that stops any ingress of water. There is hardware mounted on the front of the deck in order to put a bungee, a deck line, but I didn't fit it on this occasion. The paddle is an aluminium 4-piece paddle and seems adequate. TERRAVENT also included a paddle retention strap, which I think is a very nice touch. Included in the package is also a personal flotation device, or PFD. Again, this seemed adequate and it fit me relatively well. I'm a bigger person, so I tend to have problems with standard PFDs. And another nice touch is they include a whistle. Two extra things that you may need to add to the kayak to comply with local laws is the throw line and a bailing device. When assembled, the kayak weighs 18 kilos or 40 pounds, which is pretty lightweight for a kayak. The capacity of the kayak is 330 pounds, which is more than enough for most people, and you can also carry equipment. Inside the kayak there is a foot bar which allows you to rest your feet against something solid so that you can lock your knees to the outside of the kayak. The seat I also found comfortable and well padded, but I wouldn't want to be stuck in here for hours on end. It's not as comfortable as a traditional kayak seat. So I found the kayak to be pretty stable, even though it doesn't have any tumble hole, which would give it a natural roll to center. But despite that, it handles very well. It does have an amount of rocker and does maneuver actually quite well. So I'd be comfortable in this canoe in maybe up to class 2 type of rivers, and obviously on a calm day like this on a nice slow river, not a problem at all. But I think the target audience for this type of folding kayak is someone that's going to be doing a lot of lake paddling, or like in my situation, there's a lot of paddling along the South Saskatchewan River, which this boat would be absolutely perfect for. I can also see the kayak being used in coastal areas, as long as the sea wasn't too rough, but like all things, the sea can change rapidly, so you just need to be aware of that. The anti-drip rings on the paddle actually work quite well. I didn't get much water in the boat through the cockpit. However, adding a neoprene spray deck would certainly keep the inside a little drier. TERRAVENT also states that this boat can be assembled up to 2,000 times, which if you think about how often you use a kayak over the years, that's a considerable amount of time. I should also mention this is the K1 model. There's also the K2, which is more of an open top kayak, and there's also a K3, which is a tandem. I found the kayak very simple to disassemble and to put back into the bag. It takes me roughly about half the time that it does to set it up. The process is just basically the reverse of the assembly. The manual does a good job for explaining how all the pieces fold back together, but it's not really that complicated. So in folding the two halves together, there are some buckles that line up to hold the two halves so they don't come apart when they're in the bag. Although the bag looks kind of bulky, once you get it on your shoulders, the weight isn't too bad at all. I'd be happy to pack this along a fair distance to a river or lake. It certainly beats carrying a full-size kayak over your shoulder. Jeeps aren't known for their trunk space. However, I can get two of these in the back without any problems. So in summary, here are my thoughts. How does it compare to a mid-price kayak? I'd say it paddles well, but not as well as a regular kayak would. Due to the constraints of the folding mechanism, you're not going to get a streamlined boat. However, it's really fun to paddle, and I really enjoyed paddling up and down on the river today. So who's this product really aimed at? So I would say if you live in an apartment or you wish to travel with your kayak, or like me, you don't have a way to transport it easily, so this might be a product to look into. There are some other manufacturers of kayaks that you'll come across, and they range all the way through the spectrum, and some of them cost twice the price of the TERRAVENT. So to me this is good value. There are some compromises because of the folding mechanism. However, this is a fantastic way to have a portable kayak that you can fold and store for winter. And when spring comes around, it's going to be easy for me to grab it from the basement and head out onto the lakes and rivers. So if you have any questions about the kayak, please leave them in the comments below. And until next time, take care. And as always, thank you very much for watching. If you like my videos, leave me a comment, maybe a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe.